Good evening.
Hey, hey, how's it going?
Fine, and you?
I'm good, doing well.
It's good to hear.
Yeah, I'm doing really well. All right, let's see.
Dr. Hodges, good evening.
Hey, how's it going? Is
Doing
that
fine,
Pastor
sir.
from Richmond?
I'm in Dumfries.
You're where?
Dumfries?
Oh, Dumfries.
Yeah.
Oh, you were there
Yeah.
at
I
the
was
session.
there at the last business
Uh-huh.
conference, yes.
All right. All right. I'm pulling up something that we're going to use tonight. So we'll give them just another quick minute to get in. All right. So good afternoon, good evening, everybody. I'm Jay Hackett, and I'm here. uh, I'm here to share with you tonight just about how you can quick start your grant writing experiences. So some of you are grant writers. Some of you are running your own agency. You're fundraising for your own nonprofit. Some of you might be business owners, and you want to learn this so that you can sell this service to somebody else. Well, whichever group you're in, this is the place for you, and we're going to get all of your questions answered and give you the framework of what you need to do to jumpstart your grant writing and the tools that you're going to need. Everything that I do in the grant world is governed by what I call the grant calendar. And since we don't have a whole bunch of times, I want to get right in. And so you go ahead and get out your note-taking devices because we're getting ready to start. We're going to be asking you to comment some things as we go along. But just to start, if you can go ahead and introduce yourself in the comment section, let folks know who you are and where you're from. And if you don't mind, say what it is that you do. You might be a business owner and you do hair. You might be a child care provider. You might be a transitional home provider. What you do in what state, what city and state you're in, just so folks can get a feel of who all is here. And we're going to get started. All right. There's some other people that are coming, and as they come in, y'all can have them introduce themselves. But for right now, we want to go ahead and jump in and get started on how to quick start your grants. All right. So let's see who all is here and what things you do. Well, it hadn't shown up yet. So y'all go ahead and type it in into the chat box. All right. So just for the sake of rules, I'm going to be going through a lot of information, and I'm going to stop at certain points. Whenever I stop and I call for questions, that's the time for you to ask your questions. I prefer that you don't interrupt me like as I'm explaining. Don't interrupt as I'm explaining. I have the habit of stopping to check to see if you're with me. When I pause and I check to see if you're with me, let that be the time that you let me know if something wasn't clear, or if you have a question. I'll be glad to go back over it. Don't hold back any of your questions. Most of you here already know me, and so we do real good with answering questions. But some of these concepts, folks have been trying to get it, and maybe they haven't had the time to really receive the answer. And then some of these concepts I want to share with you. I just don't want to break your focus. All right. So let's get started. Number one, we need to know what a grant is. A grant is money that's given to you for a community benefit that you do not have to pay back. Grant or money given to you for a community benefit that you don't have to pay back. All right. And when you think about grants, you have to think this grant is for some community benefit. So if it is going to a nonprofit agency, then that grant is so the nonprofit can use it to help other people. If that grant is for a for-profit agency, that grant is going to the for-profit company, so the for-profit company can use it to continue to do what it's doing. All right. The grant is generally not given so that you can personally prosper, so that you can personally benefit. Now, the truth is that when the grant comes to your for-profit company, it shows up as revenue. All right. And so you and your tax attorney are going to have to go over how you declare that. Most of the time, the strategy that they've given me was make sure you spend it all. Don't try to save it because it's going to be taxed. And that's what my folks have told me. Your folks might tell you something different. You can deal with that. But the grant that goes to your for-profit company is going to show up as revenue. When the grant goes to your nonprofit company, that grant is going to show up as a certain type of revenue, but nonprofits are not taxed. So some people have a nonprofit, some people have a for-profit. I actually encourage people to have both. Some people have nonprofit, some people have for-profit. I encourage people to have both, because if you have both, then now you qualify for grants that are nonprofit. And if you have both, you also qualify for grants that are for for-profits. For-profit grants are typically smaller than nonprofits and more competitive. Nonprofit grants are normally larger and they're less competitive. For-profit grants are oftentimes announced all around the country, sometimes all around the world, and they get thousands of applicants. Nonprofits are typically announced really locally. So your local community development office, your local foundation, your local utility company. Okay. Now, right now, there's the story about the hurricane that's hitting my city. My city is in a hurricane. So all of you showed up on a great night, because today I actually received 2 emails that are typical in moments like this. The emails actually say that if you have received a grant from us, you can use this grant for anything. So grants can be restricted or grants can be unrestricted. Restricted grants mean they tell you what you can spend it on. Unrestricted means you can spend it on anything that the organization needs. And then another email we got today announced an emergency grant. So when you connect with your community foundation and the different funding sources, you'll find that you're inside their network, and they will tell you when they have money available. One of the grants that we applied for today is up to $10,000. They normally give an answer within a few hours. This other grant that that they emailed me about today is up to $25,000. I'm going to show you all that one today. That one's up to $25,000, and they approved that on a rolling basis. Did anybody have any questions so far? I know I've just thrown a lot at you, but these are all the basics you're going to need for now before we get into a whole lot deeper. Anybody have any questions or anything so far? Yes.
So how's Janani?
Janani? Uh-huh.
Yes. So how's business being that you've been in the hurricane, and how did your grants help you?
Well, my for-profit company has been shut down because it's been flooded. However, I have been awarded a $10,000 grant that's going to be announced publicly any day now. Now, I applied for that grant months ago, which is why I encourage people to apply, because it's going to come. Like, some turnaround times are 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 3 months. Sometimes it takes that long to hear back. But if you're always applying, you're always getting. Okay. So that's my for-profit. My nonprofit, right before I came into this call, somebody invited me to a fundraising call. They are raising money to donate to my nonprofit. And part of what's donated is not only going to go to the people, but it's going to go to pay my staff. I am not on the staff of my nonprofit. I volunteer for mine because I'm the board chair. But if I were a staff member, like you might be a staff member of your nonprofit, then some of that would go to take care of your salary. All right. And when you use the strategy that I teach, you actually become connected to your funding sources. And so they don't see you as a stranger anymore. They actually see you as part of their network, and they'll tell you about money that's available. They'll actually offer it to you. But there are a lot of people online that are in this hustle mentality. They're kind of secretly stealing. Like, they have this like rob them and run kind of thing. I don't teach a rob them and run. Like, the way that I teach grants puts you in connection with the people that have the money and they want to give to you. That's what you want. You want somebody to know who Janani is, and when money is available, you want them to contact you and say, we have $25,000 available. Do you need it? Right? That's what you want.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Other questions? All right. So let's get started. Every grant has 3 sections. There are 3 sections of every grant. There's a statement of need, there's a program design, and there's outcomes. There are 3 sections to every grant. 3 sections to every grant. This is very, very important. No matter how long the grant is, and there are some grants, the instructions alone are 85 pages. Sometimes the instructions are 85 pages. For federal grants, the instructions are 85 pages. All right. But there are really only 3 questions that you really have to answer. And if you answer these 3 questions one time, you'll be able to write almost any grant. Now, of course, there are going to be other nuances, but these are the 3 questions. Number 1, statement of need. Number 2, program design. Number 3, outcomes. Number 1, statement of need. Number 2, program design. And number 3, outcomes. So these are the 3 sections of every grant. Number 1 is statement of need. Number 2 is program design. And number 3 is outcomes. But you do not start at the beginning. You do not start at the beginning. You actually start at the end. So here's a pop quiz. How many sections of a grant are there? How many?
3.
3. What's section number 1?
Statement of need.
Statement of need. Section number 2 is what?
Program
design.
Program design, right. And section number 3 is what?
Outcomes.
Perfect. Now, but you do not start at the beginning. You have to start at the end. So we're not going to start with the statement of need. Where do you think we're going to start? Everybody?
Outcome.
Absolutely. We're going to start with outcomes. So the outcomes answers the question, what changes? Outcomes answer the question, what changes? The outcomes answer the question, what changes? What changes? All right. The section number 2 is program design. And that answers the question, how? How does it change? How are you going to change it? How? It changes. Section number 3 is outcomes, and outcomes answer which question? What
Change?
Changes.
changes?
All right. That's the change in condition. If we give you this money, what changes? Okay. Section number 2 is program design. Program design answers the question, how is it going to change? How? Section number 2 answers the question, how? All right. Then you have section number 1. Section number 1 answers the question, why? This is why I say you only really have to know 3 questions, answer to 3 questions. Number 1, statement of need. Number 2, program design. Number 3, outcomes. But you don't start at the beginning. You start at the end. You start with the outcomes in mind. So you want to know what changes. If I give you $10,000, what changes? You have a youth program. If I give you $10,000, what changes? So for outcomes, they want to see you say things like, if you give me $10,000, 100 kids are going to finish the 7th grade. If you give me $10,000, I'm going to feed 100 families. If you give me, matter of fact, one of the grants that we wrote today, we're asking for money so that people can relocate, so they can get out of the disaster area, because we experienced a catastrophic event, all right, a devastating event. It is a national state of emergency. So for my outcomes, with one of the grants that we wrote today was, what changes? People will be able to have money so that they can leave and get to a place of safety and not use up the local resources for people that cannot afford to leave. All right. So when you think of outcomes, you answer the question, why? I mean, when you think of outcomes, you answer the question, what? What changes? That's the question that you answer for outcomes. When it comes to program design, you're answering the question, how? This is where you are creative. And for program design, you want 3 items. For program design, you want 3 items. These items are actually activities. So let's say you want 3 activities. For program design, you need 3 activities. For program design, you need 3 activities. What do you need for program design?
3 activities.
3 activities.
Activities. All right. So if I have an after-school program, then what is my program design? My program design might include tutoring, food, and recreation. Those are the 3 activities of my after-school program. Does this make sense, y'all?
Yep.
All right. If I have a program that is for senior citizens, senior assisted living, my 3 activities might be independent living for seniors, recreational activity for seniors, medical treatment for seniors. That's 3 activities. I'm the founder of Black Wall Street. And so in my program, my 3 activities are business coaching, technical assistance for applications, and income generating activities. Those are my 3 activities. Now, one of my grants actually allows me to do another activity called barrier removal. And that's where I'm able to raise money to give to people to help them deal with whatever problems, whether it's an electric bill, emergency rent situation, food, childcare, transportation, whatever it is. That's what our program is able to do. So what I want you to do right now, I want you to write down what type of program you have. If you have already developed it, that's fine. If you haven't fully developed it, don't worry about it. Write down the type of program you have and what are 3 things that you can do. And then I want to get a volunteer. Type of program and 3 things. It can be real or it can be fictional. All right. I've had a transitional home, and my transitional home was for people that came out of prison, incarceration, jail, that came out of treatment, or they came out of rehab. And my 3 activities was housing, transportation, and workforce development. We provided housing, we drove them to work, and we provided housing, we helped them find a job, and we drove them to work. Y'all see how these 3 things can actually work together. You just need 3 things. Why is that? because program design has three things, three activities. And these three activities are answering the question, how? How, Sway, how? How you gonna do it? I'm gonna do these three activities. How you gonna get these kids to pass the test? I'm gonna do three activities. Give them mentors, give them tutors, give them food, a balanced meal. How you gonna keep these residents from going back to jail? I'm gonna provide housing, I'm gonna train them to work, and then I'm gonna take them to work. That's how. How you gonna stop these women from being victim to domestic violence? I'm provide housing, I'm provide domestic violence counseling, and I'm provide financial literacy. Do y'all see? Three is three things. There's always three. There are people that talk about four. There are people that talk about two. I'm not any of those people. I'm telling you what to do. You don't have to try to figure out a whole bunch of different things. You just need three things. And I need 3 volunteers. Anybody willing to volunteer? It's not going to hurt you. It's only going to help you.
I will, Coach Frida.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey.
All right, all right. Frida's one of our experienced grant writers. Frida, can you give us an example? Program
Okay,
and
so
3 activities.
the program that we have, one that my husband has for his organization, is a scholarship program for high school seniors as well as enrolled college students. That's the
Okay,
program.
that's
And
the
then,
program.
yes, and then we take them through a 6-month mentorship where we teach them life skills. And then we also have someone to come in, a dean to come in a dean of administrations to come in to teach them all about the college, like enrollment, the FAFSA, and all of that.
All right. So if I were breaking this down for the scholarship program, that's the program, I would say the 3 activities are college counseling or college readiness. I would say mentorship, and I would say life skills training, because you're probably teaching them about conduct and how to present themselves, how to dress, how to prepare. And just because I know the quality of your programs, you're not going to let them go out looking or acting janky. So there are going to be some hard conversations. That's called life skills.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
And so you all see that the things that you're doing, they're already serving the community. Everybody just doesn't automatically put it in grant language. So scholarship program has these three activities: college readiness or college prep, mentorship, and life skills. All right, thank you, Frida. Somebody else, let me have you as a volunteer. Don't y'all speak at once. We're running out of time.
I'll do it.
All right.
Jay, how you doing? So pretty much what I'm saying is like the type of program and then the three
3 activities.
3 activities. So I have a for-profit company, right?
Mhm.
And it's actually a clothing brand, which is called One More Hustle.
Mhm.
And what One More Hustle is a motivational movement to help elevate your thoughts throughout life's journey. Believe in self.
Mhm.
So as far as the 3 activities for the students, because we always focus our center petition is for the youth. So what it is for is it's pretty much like in the area, low poverty area, and it helps the children. And for one, if children are involved in sports, it's going to help them stay off the streets.
Mhm.
And in order to like sometimes we give children rewards as well as like we hook them up with gear and stuff like that. So part of that would be as far as teaching them integrity, and it also helps them build self-confidence as well.
All right. So if I were writing that for a grant, and there are grants for for-profits and for nonprofits, I encourage people, if you have a for-profit company, you probably care about your community already, and you're doing stuff out of your pocket. You don't have to do it out of your pocket. You can create that nonprofit. So the stuff you do for the community is coming out of the nonprofit, which is raising grant money for it and not out of your personal pocket. So if I were looking at your program, called One More Hustle.
Yes.
It was that, did I get the name right?
Correct. Yes.
One More Hustle. I would, the 3 activities, I would either say mentorship or youth development. I would say sports or health and wellness. when you deal with health and wellness, you're talking about how people look and how they feel. So there are times that people help folks with like self-esteem. That has to do with health and wellness. If you're helping them eat, like one of my previous clients has a hair salon specializing in young girls, and they do fashion shows, they do mentorship, they do self-esteem. That's under health and wellness. There's a program in Detroit from one of my students. She actually serves young ladies that are larger than other young ladies, and it's a childhood obesity program. And she ended up writing a book called "Skinny Girls Don't Get It," and she's able to raise money specifically to help her larger teenage girls look good and feel good about themselves, which includes free clothes, free trips, free supplies, free school stuff. All right. So your 3 activities for One More Hustle is youth development, health and wellness, and life skills. You can say youth development, or you can say mentorship. Then health and wellness and life skills. So that when you're looking for grants, you're not looking for grants for One More Hustle. You're looking for grants for youth. You're looking for grants for health and wellness, and you're looking grants for life skills.
But I can still do that with a for-profit, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I'm actually going to go over how for-profits can get grants, sometimes without even writing them. All right.
Okay.
Dr. Mambo, and then we'll move on.
Yes, I own a nonprofit, and my plan is to run an orphanage. To do that, I need a shelter. You know, when we talk about shelter, we also need food. I also need to provide medical care for those children, and also, you know, kind of run a preschool, so provide them with the education.
All right. So if I were writing that, now all of this stuff is needed, but I would simplify it because you want to be able to get the money faster. So I would instead of shelter, I would say housing. We need money for housing. We need money for food. And then you can decide on the last one because it has to be 3. You can say education. If you're raising money for education, then they're expecting you to raise money to pay tuition for people.
Okay.
If you want to open a school, then of course you have school regulations, which might take a long time. All right.
How do you go around that? How do you avoid that? Maybe find another activity besides the education, because the kids do need education.
Yes, yeah. I would decide on which one, whether you want it, which one would be number 3. Do you want to focus on health, like medical care, or do you want to focus on education, like school education? If you want to raise money for it, it's going to take time, but you can do it.
Yeah, maybe have to be to get started. Maybe down the road I can probably go for education.
Yeah. So then to get started, I would do housing. I would do housing, food, and mentorship.
Mentorship.
Because if you get the money for the house, you might trust to take them to public school, as long as you can also raise money for them to have mentors.
Okay. Makes
So
sense.
then your 3 activities are housing, food, and mentorship.
Makes sense.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. So that is the second section of any grant. And then you have the first section. The first section is called the statement of need. And the statement of need is where you answer the question, why? Why is this important? Now, I want all of you to open another screen, whether you're on your phone or on a different device, so I can show you how to find the statement of need. You want to identify what problem you're addressing or your clients are addressing, okay? So if you are a nonprofit, you might be addressing educational disparities, obesity, violence, crime, blah, blah, blah. If you are a for-profit company, You're addressing a different need. As a for-profit company, what you are addressing is the fact that there are not many companies like mine out there. What you're addressing is a person like me hasn't started or typically doesn't do this company. What you're addressing is I'm doing this in a unique way. There are only a few Black-owned companies. There are only a few women-owned companies. You have a unique presentation, a unique design. There's something unique about your story. So when you are writing a for-profit grant, you still need to describe the need. And the need is never, I need money. When you're writing a grant, there's a delicate balance between sounding needy and not. Like, you really have to walk that balance beam. So you want them to know that you need the money for what you want to do. I want to be a pillar of the community. I want to serve more people. I want to represent people that used to live in low income or the projects. I want to represent people that overcome depression. I want to represent people that started over after prison. I want to impact the community in some way. That's a for-profit grant. You still have to recognize the need, but it's just a little different with nonprofits. Matter of fact, let me pause there and take some questions about what I've just said for statement of need. For profits, you want to describe what you need so you can make a bigger impact. You don't want to sound needy. And the reality is that sometimes, like my coffee shop just got flooded, and the $10,000 grant is going to come in handy. It has nothing to do with my insurance, has nothing to do with FEMA. It's just money that's going to show up right when I need it. I need it. But when I was writing, I did not sound desperate. Give me money because I need it. All right. Anybody have any questions on this part? All right. So in order to find the statement of need, the statement of need is this. It is, why is this important? Why is this important? Because unemployment is high. Why is this important? Because people got out of jail and they can't find jobs. Why is this important? Because the dropout rate is high. Why is this important? Because Black men are getting killed by police. Why is this important? Because women are killing themselves. Why is this important? Because people don't have the fresh fruit and vegetables they need. All right. So the statement of need answers the question why. These are data points. Data points. So I asked everybody to open up another screen. And I want you to find one data point that addresses your audience. Whoever your target customer is has a problem. Find a data point that describes their problem. For example, a data point would be the unemployment rate is 3.7%. A data point is 70% of Black people are living in poverty. A data point is less than half of 1% of all contracts go to Black businesses. That's a data point. And you find this data point by just typing in unemployment rate, dropout rate for your city, for your town, for your state. All right. The childhood obesity rate. This is where you give some shocking data point. You want to pull out something that shocks people. All right. As long as you find it and it is there, you can use it. Sometimes people say, well, I don't know how reliable it is. It almost doesn't matter as long as somebody else has published it. Now, I'm not talking about pull something from the tabloids. I'm talking about if it's written in the newspaper, if it's online, if it's on the news, if it's a scholarly article, a journal, a book, and you do this really, really easily by looking at Google and just type it in whatever it is you're trying to find. So I need 3 volunteers just to check a data point and tell me what that data point is.
I can.
All right.
12.6 million American grandparents living in poverty, taking care of their grandchildren.
All right. So do y'all see that is a data point? 12.8 million grandparents are living in poverty, taking care of their grandkids. All right. And this is how all of this works together. Because 12.8 million grandparents are living in poverty, I need to do something. This is program design. We're going to do these three things. And if we provide resources for grandparents, counseling for grandparents, and respite for grandparents, respite is where the grandparent get to take a break and pay somebody to take them kids for the weekend. We provide counseling, resources, and respite. Then grandparents will not, they won't be further in poverty. What's going to change? Grandparents will be more happy, more healthy, less stressful. All right. Great example of a data point. Somebody else give me an example of a data point.
I can. 81% of young men who have been in the foster care system end up like a run-in with the police or incarcerated.
Okay. All right. You said 81%.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So that's a glaring statistic. 81%. 8 out of 10 young men that have a run-in with the law end up incarcerated. All right. That's a data point. So what 3 things are you going to do to address that? This is your program design.
Well, I'm doing a transitional housing program for youth in foster care. So I provide shelter. I have financial literacy and life skill development.
Okay. Shelter, that's housing, life skills, and financial literacy. Perfect. And if we do these 3 things, even though the data point says 8 out of 10 will be incarcerated, my outcome is that less of them will be incarcerated.
Right.
And it don't have to be perfect. You can say 5 out of 10. Instead of 8 out of 10 incarcerated, only 4 might be incarcerated.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Give me one more example. Okay, Janani.
Yeah, I'm having an issue with mine because my program deals with it's called Pearls and Purses, and it provides toiletries to young women. So I don't know how to go about saying that.
Perfect.
I mean, to find the data point.
Let's work on it together real quick. Pros and purses, pearls and purses.
Yes.
All right, pearls and purses. Why are you doing this?
To provide health and wellness, to provide life skill development and mentorship.
Why?
To help young women in low income housing to, what's the word?
All right.
Development.
Why do you need to help them? Why? Why do they need pearls and purses? Why do you need to help them? Why are you doing anything for them? Why do they need it?
To help boost their self-esteem and their confidence.
If you don't boost their self-esteem, what's going to happen?
Anything can happen. Crime.
There you go.
Statistics.
There you go. Teen pregnancy, depression, suicide. So a data point would be 3 out of 5 girls are victim to bullying. 2 out of every 5 girls have thought about suicide. So your data point might be a bullying statistic, or how many girls commit suicide each year. So your statement of need might be based on suicide, low income. How many girls end up getting pregnant as teenagers each year? 3 out of 5 girls get pregnant as teenagers each year, which leads to a life of poverty and struggle. The statement of need is where you highlight the pain.
Okay.
All right. And because this problem is so big, we're going to do 3 things. What are your 3 things? Told you, you got it.
Provide health and wellness, life skills, development, and mentorship.
You see it? You see it?
Okay.
You see it?
I see it.
So
Thank you.
give me one more example. Good work. Good work. Give me one more example, y'all. One more volunteer.
I
Mark.
will.
All right, go ahead.
I have one for entrepreneurship for
Perfect.
youth.
Go ahead.
So you want to know the point. Let me pull it back
Yeah,
up.
a data point.
Okay. Yes. The data point I have is that from the ages of 10 to 17, these youth in Nashville are experiencing homelessness based upon the data points in Metro.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now, your data point always needs a number. You always want to have a number. So you want to say how many are experiencing. It can be how many thousands, how many hundreds, what percentage. But that would be your data point. All right. So then after that, then it just goes from there. Because they're experiencing homelessness. What are
Well,
you
this
gonna,
is what it says. It says an average of 2,134 youth are in a state custody every year in this area. Nearly 57% of the youth are ages 13 and up.
Mhm.
As the youth are near the point they are at the age out of DCS custody and programming, they're at higher risk of experiencing homelessness.
All right. So that's your data point. That's actually like 3 different data points. Each number is a data point. So the 2,000 such and such, that's a data point. The 57% is a data point. All right. So because this problem is so big, what are you going to do? 3 things.
I'm going to teach them financial literacy, workforce development, life skills.
Perfect. That's what you're going to do. All right. So these are the 3 sections of a grant. Now, remember, y'all, no matter what grant you look at, no matter how many questions, you read through the questions, you're going to answer them, but all of it is broken down into these 3 questions. Number 1, statement of need. Number 2, program design. And number 3, outcomes. Now, tell me this, y'all. What question is answered by outcomes? Y'all got it?
What changes?
There you go. What changes? Which question is answered by program design?
How?
What change?
The first one was correct. What was
How
that?
does it change?
How's it change?
How does it change?
How
Right.
does it
And
change?
that answer has how many pieces?
How?
3.
3 activities, right? And then
3.
which question is answered by a statement of need?
The why.
Why? Why?
Why is this?
Exactly. And that is your data points. Now, when you're doing a grant, you really want 10 data points. You want 10 of them. That's ideal. If you can't find 10, that's fine. Use as many as you can. But the best grants will have 10 data points. All right. Your program design will have 3 activities. And then you'll have outcomes. All right. So now let's go into searching for grants, and then we're going to show you how to do it the fastest way on earth. Before we go,
what I got to do to get $50,000 off in 3 different banks?
Before we go on, let me hear any questions. Anybody have any questions?
I do got a question. I'm sorry. I came on a little after you started. So I just wanted to know real quick, is this going to be recorded and can I find it somewhere so I can see what I missed?
Yeah, it's recorded and we'll make it available at the end.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right. Janani?
Yeah, my question is, what do you mean by data points?
Oh, each thing that you said that had a number, that's a data point. So when you say 2,000 young people are homeless, that's a data point. 3 out of 5 children drop out of high school, that's a data point. 8 out of 10 people that get released from prison go back in the same year, that's a data point. A statistic is a data point. All right. That's just how we say it in the grant world, a data point.
Okay, thank you.
And what it really means is a point of data. That's all it means. All right.
Did you say we have to have at least 10 data points?
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's what
Yeah,
I thought.
I didn't
you
say at
said.
least 10. I said ideally. Your goal is 10. So your data points might be how many grandparents are living in poverty? How many grandparents are taking care of kids? How their kids? How many grandparents need help? What is the income of a grandparent taking care of their kids? Every angle is a data point.
Got you. Thank you.
And once you get it one time, you don't have to do it again. All right. So we have to keep this as simple as possible, y'all. When you're thinking about grants, if you're writing them from scratch, you only need to really have your answer for 3 questions. And those questions are, what changes, how does it change, and why does it change? Those questions are, what changes, how does it change, and why does it change? Those questions are, what changes? Say what changes. Say what changes. There you go.
What changes?
The next question is, how does it change? Say, how does it change?
How does it
How does
change?
it change?
All right. And the next question is, why does it need to change?
Why does it need to
Why does
change?
it need to change?
Do y'all see how this comes together? You getting it, right?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. All right. Does anybody have any questions before we go into searching grants right now? We're about to go into how to search for grants. All right. So
I do. Oh, I'm sorry.
yes, go ahead.
So, and when you're doing a nonprofit, if I'm in Washington State and I wanted to start in my area, like where my county is, is it better to start with the county and then branch out, or you know what I mean?
Yes, it's better to start where you are,
Okay.
and look everywhere else. But it's always better to start where you are, because there are not very many people where you are that are going after the grants.
Got you.
So the grants that people see, like on Facebook and Instagram, and y'all, I'm telling you, I'd be shocked at how much people lie online. Like, have y'all? It's so much lies and false information. I saw a post today, and I'm not great at social media. I'm going to be good at it one day.
Right.
But I was looking and I saw a post that said 5 grants for Black men. But the thing is, I've been doing this for 20 years. My grant total right now is $67 million. And I'm working on a few grants right now that are 20 million each. And so I don't know every grant that's out there, but it's highly unlikely that there's a brand new grant that I just know nothing about. Right. So I saw this post that had 5 grants for Black men. One of those grants was NASDAQ, which is not for Black men. Another one of those grants was the FedEx grant, which is only given in December and is only given by referral from a FedEx employee. So if you don't know a FedEx employee and they didn't refer you, you're not even going to be considered. And when you're considered, it's the FedEx employees that vote on it during Christmas time. The other grant was a federal grant for new inventions that scientists do from NASA. None of these grants had anything to do with Black men, and all of them had different eligibility. Some of them required for-profit, some of them required nonprofit, but here go the little internet person with the little fancy car and the fancy house, and the words on it say grants for Black men with 2,000 comments saying send it to me. And I'm like, man, those people are being deceived, they're being lied to, they're being played with, and that's just not right. That's just not right.
When I went through FYF and I got access to Grant Suite, right? You did that thing for us. When I tried to do some things over here in Washington, they said I couldn't do it because of where I am. They only offer it in a certain part of Washington. Does that happen often?
Yes, it does. So some grants are only, I'm going to show you a grant tonight, one that I got today, for $25,000. Now, when a funding source gives out a grant, they get to say where it can be used. Okay. So they'll say it can only be used in DC. Sometimes they'll say it can only be used in the South Southwest DC. Sometimes they'll say, can we only use in this county or this area or this state? They get to set the rules.
Okay.
The advantage of having a coach or somebody like me or somebody like me is that they can tell you ahead of time. And if you need to do, just like in your for-profit business, you can create a foreign entity. You can do the same thing with a nonprofit so that before the grant becomes available, you're already qualified.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, no problem, no problem. Other questions? Okay. All right. So there are grants everywhere. I'm going to show you how to find them, and then I'm going to show you how to find them. And some of y'all have seen this before, but if you've ever seen it, if you've ever done this, you should be able to find 100 grants in 100 minutes. Now, I'm not going to take 100 minutes, but I'm going to show you. All right. Somebody tell me the name of your electric company.
Duke Energy.
NES.
Amarin.
All right.
Tacoma Public Utilities.
All right. Here's Duke Energy Grant. As a matter of fact, just so we could kind of keep this going, write in the comments the name of your bank. Now, some people, I've shown you this and you just haven't tried it, but this is what I do for fun. So here's your electric company. They have grants. What is another? PSNC, is that a electric company?
I
That's
believe so.
their grants right there. All right, so your electric company has grants. Not only does your electric company has grants, your hospital has grants. Give me the name of a hospital.
St. Thomas Medical.
All right, St. Thomas, there it is, essentially St. Thomas Foundation. All right. And then all banks have grants, every bank, PNC Bank grant, right here. All right.
Is that different with credit unions?
Credit unions are not required to give out grants. They give out sponsorships. It's still money, it's just smaller.
Okay.
All right, and it's not competitive. All right. Bank of America, they just did their grant cycle. But if you want a grant from Bank of America, you're going to need to get somebody from Bank of America to be a volunteer with your company. All right. And they don't tell you that. I just know it from experience. All right. Give me the name of another bank. Matter of fact, one of my students, they got invited to a grant with First Bank. All right. First Bank grant. And then one of my favorite banks, Truist Bank grants. All right. There's Truist. And then what about Chase Bank grant? Every bank. In fact, there are 4,200 something banks in the United States. And I actually sent the list over to my team, and we actually got all of their grants in our software. Every grant from every bank that's available is in there. All right, Tasha, you had a question? I know a Tasha Black. Is that you?
Maybe. From New York?
No, Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, I'm from New York.
Okay.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
So have you had any students that actually, I work for the city, and we work for, we partner with a lot of community-based organizations, and a lot of them don't have grant writers, so they're like mom and pop shops.
Right.
Could city agencies apply for grants to then award them to community-based organizations?
Yeah, cities do all the time. I work with my city and my county. We were awarded a few $1 million grants from the MacArthur Foundation to reduce the jail bed population. And when we got the grants, one was 1.7 million, the other one was 1.3 million. We received the grants and then we re-granted them out to the community agencies.
So a city agency can do that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
I just mentioned to y'all that I'm working on a $20 million grant. That one has the city as a lead.
Awesome. Thank you. Would there be anything I would need to do in particular, or just find the grants and give it to my appropriate channels?
If you find the grant, you give it to your people, they can go after it. Sometimes they don't want to do the work. But if you turn it over to them, they can decide whether they want it or not. As a matter of fact, a lot of positions in cities and counties are grant funded positions. Nobody knows it because a lot of people don't read the fine print at the bottom of the job description, but they're grant funded positions. Like if your city has like any people in the courthouse that help explain stuff to folks, those are not regular staff positions. Those are grant funded positions. If you have like community navigators, those are grant funded positions. If the city work is in your city, actually, they receive every year, they receive in their community development office money from the federal government, from HUD, Housing and Urban Development, and they give those grants out as CDBG grants every year.
Yeah, we do that. Yep.
That's a grant that you I don't even know what city you're in, but your city received that money. Okay. Your city received that money from the federal government and they re-grant it out to community agencies.
Got it. Thank you so much.
No problem. Brianna? Brianna? Did I say it right? Brianna, you had a question?
Yes, I did. Sorry.
Okay.
I was muted. Thank you. Two things. I've been appointed ahead of this entrepreneurial project, and I was encouraged to apply for grants for salaried. How could I target or even search for grants just for that purpose?
Okay. Can I coach you right now?
Thank you, please.
All right. So tell me what city and state you're in.
New Orleans.
Okay, in New Orleans.
The grant is for the non-for-profit. They're based out of Delaware. Does that matter?
It does. Where will the activity take place?
Overseas.
The training is going to happen overseas?
The training's going to happen overseas.
Okay. Is it foreign people receiving it, or is it American people receiving it, but they're receiving it overseas?
Foreigners, foreign students, young people.
Okay. All right. So if you're teaching, like I have a school in Kenya, and in my school, I teach entrepreneurship. So grants for your company to receive money to do something in another country for that country's citizens, the biggest pool of money for that is going to come from grants.gov. America, as a government, gives money to other countries, and what they follow. Now, each grant has its own requirements, but just to kind of help give you a jump start, you want to follow the Sustainable Development Goals. These are called the SDGs. Now, if you're already doing international work, you're probably very familiar with it already.
Yes.
So you want to pick one of the SDGs and make that the focus of your grant.
Poverty reduction.
All right. Poverty reduction. And of course, in lots of these countries, the developing countries, there are disparities with women. And when you're writing grants, you want to make sure that you make it catchy because there's somebody reading it. So you want to look at grants.gov, and you will look at grants for women, grants for poverty, and grants for water. So if
this NGO, their focus is on poverty reduction using agriculture and also climate, things that focus on climate
safety.
Climate things that are going to negatively impact the climate reduction or tools and stuff.
Right. So in order to make it attractive, you look for climate reduction for women, poverty for women, because what you want to do is stand out among everybody else. And so your grants that you're looking for are going to be found mostly on grants.gov. And those are really large grants.
So fourth quarter, is it possible to focus in to like tap into those?
Absolutely. Federal grants are available year round. And if you look at the website, they're going to tell you what's available now and what's available in the future.
All right, thank you. And the last thing, budgeting. How do you tackle the budget?
I teach a whole class on budgeting. Federal budgets use a document called, a form called the SF 424. It is a very long document, but I simplify it in my class called budgeting.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank
I just
you
don't
so
have
very
time to
much.
go over it in this class. Federal grants are a whole thing by themselves. And so that's why I take a whole class to teach budgeting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No problem, no problem. I'll take one more question before we go on. All right, who is that? All right, Janani?
Yes, my question is, what about solar
Solar, oh yeah.
for grants?
Remember I told you that, well, I don't know if I told y'all, I just had a conversation about a grant that was 120 million.
Yeah.
Well, this was the grant, it's called Solar for All. And the agency that I spoke with about it, they had just received 120 million. And I was like, oh, well, if they received 120 million, how much was available? Do you see this?
7 billion?
Yes. And that's for one grant program. Yeah. So there's a lot of money available, most people just don't apply. So, of course, I can't, we only have limited time, and I don't want to worry y'all's patience and wear out my welcome. So I want to make sure that I give y'all a good overview on what you can do. If we never talk again, if you never see me again or talk to me, there's some things that you can do right now to find grants. And this is what I want you to do. Are y'all ready? If you're ready, say I'm ready.
Ready.
I'm ready.
I want you to type in, open that other screen and type in the name of your hospital and the word grants. All right. All right. Then you type in the name of your bank and the word grants. Then type in the name of your favorite retail store. And some of y'all might be Walmart fans. Walmart grants. Then type in the name of your grocery store, your favorite grocery store. It needs to be a chain grocery store. It can be Publix, or it can be Whole Foods. And what you're going to find is that there are grants all around you. Now, honestly, y'all, have y'all ever heard of these grants anywhere on the internet? Nowhere on social media. Because the grants that most of them tell you about are public grants that are nationally known, that are very, very competitive. But I promise you, there are not very many people asking Whole Foods for a grant. Most people don't even know that your grocery store has a grant program. And then Yeah, yes, Tasha. I can't hear you. Oh, it's real vague. Can you speak louder or something?
Oh, I was saying, can you hear me? You hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, I was saying, because of this class, I actually took what you just said and just taught us, and I did that with our CBOs, and now they actually are like getting stuff from Old Navy and from Whole Foods and grants that they're using during the fall to give for back to
Yeah.
to school events and things. So just giving you a shout out. Thank you so much for that, because I definitely didn't see that out there in the universe the way it is on social media.
Yeah. So I told y'all that that we research grants. So we've been researching, and I hired a developer to create this software. The software is called Grant Suite. Inside this software are right now, there are about 4,000 or 5,000 grants. All right. But this software doesn't only have the grants, it searches them and writes them for you. So there are people that don't have time to write grants. So it takes anywhere from 20 to 40 hours to write a grant. But what if I said, I can write this grant for you in less than a minute? How many of y'all would like that? This is the fun part. I love it. So in the software, you just go to opportunities, you click on it. Hold on, do y'all want to see this? Because I'm a little bit over.
Absolutely, yes.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Hold on now. All right. You click on opportunities, you go over here and you click with templates. Now we have general grants, grants that are not yet written, but with templates are grants that my staff has already written for you. So you click on templates and it's going to come up, grants that are already written. Now this grant is due, September 30th. Is that one just expired? Use this grant template. I want y'all to look at how long it takes me to write this grant. Start now. Done. Did y'all see that? I went too fast. I would do it again. This grant right here, done. Y'all don't understand what just happened. This grant, you click the link and the grant is written.
May I ask, how many data points do you have to already have plugged in order to utilize the templates?
You need your statement of need. You need your program design. And what do you think you also need?
Your outcomes.
Outcome.
Yep. And then just your name and stuff like that. So over here, you see the list of companies, because I don't only write grants for Black Wall Street, I also write it for Jordan Peer Recovery, for Sesame Street, for Reading Rainbow, for Power Rangers. And this software allows you to add an unlimited, right now, allows you to add an unlimited amount of companies. So if you want to write grants for multiple companies, matter of fact, you see this is over here written for Black Wall Street. Now we just change it and it's written for the other company.
I got a question.
Yep.
Okay, so like when you say use this template, because I've already filled out the 3 main points of the grant and I put my company's information there. If my company do not qualify, is it not going to write the template automatically, or?
No, if your company doesn't,
because it's a for-profit.
If your company doesn't qualify, then you just won't be awarded. It's still going to write. It doesn't know whether you're qualified or not. That's for you to know. And like if you are a for-profit company, as a matter of fact, I said I would go over this. So let me tell you now, if that's okay. So your for-profit company can get grants in 3 different ways. Number one, there are grants for profit companies. And if you're using my software, this is one grant. These are grants that are available for profit companies. It'll write it for you too.
So I just type in for profit at that top, and then that's when I choose to use template. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
All right.
I'm listening.
So number one, you can write grants that are eligible for profit companies. The other thing you can do is partner with a nonprofit. Let's say you are for profit and you partner with me. Let's say your for-profit company designs custom t-shirts. Well, you can actually partner with every nonprofit that receives grants because they all need t-shirts. And when they get the grant, you get the money.
Give me a little bit more in detail with that.
So whenever a nonprofit writes a grant, they have to say what they're going to use the money for. So like the grant that I'm applying for today for $25,000, I have to tell them what I'm going to use the money for. If I needed to use the money for t-shirts and you sell t-shirts, all I have to do is put t-shirts in my budget. And when they give me the money, I give you a check. Because I can take the grant money and go shopping anywhere. So what you want to do is make sure that your for-profit company is doing business with nonprofits.
As a subcontractor.
As a subcontractor, as a vendor, you can just be. If you're not talking, go ahead and mute. All right, I got it. Yeah. Hold on. Who was that? Who was that that was supposed to be talking? You can unmute yourself. I think I muted everybody. All right. All right. So your for-profit company can be the lead. Your for-profit company can be a vendor on somebody else's grant, but maybe a subcontractor, maybe a vendor, maybe a sub-grantee. Or you can do what's called fiscal sponsorship. So if you have a for-profit company, you don't have a nonprofit, but you want a grant that's only supposed to go to nonprofits, you just ask me, can you use my name? That's called fiscal sponsorship. I'm sponsoring you. I let you use my name so you can get the grant. That's called fiscal sponsorship. And so as a nonprofit, you use my number, but you do the work and you pay me somewhere between 3 and 5%, which is called a fiscal agent fee. So these are the 3 ways that your for-profit can get a grant. You apply for for-profit grants, you become a vendor on somebody else's grant, or you use a fiscal sponsor. All right. So, it takes time for people to write grants. It takes time for people to understand all the questions. But what if you could just fill out your information one time and it just answer all the questions for you? That's what this software does. And so whether it's banks, Charter Bank and Trust, fills it out for you. That's done. Y'all see how quick that is? This like just levels the playing field, because the problem is that people don't know the questions and they don't know how to answer the questions, but the software writes the questions for you. The reason our software knows the questions is because I've been doing this for 20 years and we told it what the questions are. All right. Brianna, you had a question? Oh, I think her hand might have just been raised.
I got a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know I'm talking. I didn't realize I was muted.
Okay, go ahead.
So in the grant suite, are there examples of program design?
Yes, actually. Um, program designs that. Are man, that must be a bug. So here's statement of needs for different things. But your program designs are in here. I must be typing something wrong. Mark, can you check that for me? Let's send the thing over to tech support.
Yes, sir.
All right. Oh, here they are. So let's say you had an after school program. You wanted to write it for you. Here it is. Can you see the screen?
Yeah, it's just, I don't know if you can make it larger. Thank you.
Just did. Can you see that?
Yes.
All right.
So all of this is incorporated into the program design?
Yeah, you're going to pick 3. So you see method and strategies.
Yes.
3. And then you click download. It also has your outcomes and it has your projected budget.
So how did you find the program designs again? I didn't see that.
You type proposal.
Okay.
Yeah, and we have proposals for all types of programs. In fact, when people register for Grant Suite, we actually do an additional search on whatever your area is to make sure that there's stuff in there for you. Now, on Monday, this is about to upgrade with AI behind it. So after Monday, it's going to be able to virtually write any grant. It's learning the more we use it. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we are running out of time. I'm going to take a few questions. If any of you wanted Grant Suite, you can get it. It is $197 a month. You can pick it up tonight. But if anybody just didn't want to deal with payments, et cetera, then you can do what we call the lifetime lock-in. And if you get the lifetime lock-in, you can get the whole thing for just about $2,000, and you won't have to do any. You won't have to do any of the upgrades. You won't have to do any of the monthly payments or anything like that. Also, you get my whole training program and my online courses. That includes grants for real estate. If you need money to buy or build a building, you get grants for real estate. You get the class on how to search and find grants. So the way I was going through different grants, you can do that on your own pace and learn it.
How long is that? Is that is that just for a certain amount of time? How long would that be? That price for the lifetime thing be available?
We just now launched it, so I haven't closed it. I think I'll carry it through the weekend. But the people that do the lifetime lock-in, they just won't do payments at all.
Okay.
They'll pay and then they won't. You'll never have to pay anything. You can go and start your own grant writing business after that.
That's good. And I asked you a question. I sent you a personal message.
I didn't see it. All right. Let me read it. Let me see if I can read it.
So, because that was, you know,
Read
part
it?
of the.
Okay.
You see it? You see it?
Oh yeah.
So that.
After that year, so so Smitty's group, they got some special offers, and if you had the access for a year, then you would have to pay after that year.
Okay. Got you.
Yep.
But I want to make sure I keep that. You understand what I'm saying? Because it's taught me a lot of stuff. But you saying that the offer that you're giving it extends to real estate and that other stuff. I want to know it too. So yeah, that's why I asked that question.
This offer gives you everything.
Okay.
And
that's why I needed to know how long, because you know I'm a disabled American veteran, so first of the month is my time where I'm able to do things. That's why I was asking you how long it's going to be available at that price.
Yeah. Okay. All right. No problem. And whoever picks up the lock-in, I do my workshops and my challenges through the year. But you can also come to my Q&A every Tuesday. All right. Anybody have any other questions?
Okay, I do real quick about the grant suite, because I actually do have the software. I haven't gotten there really and play with it yet, but that's on my agenda for the weekend. So when we start applying for the grants, will the software track which ones we've applied for, or should we like download them and store them in a folder, or what?
It will not track what you have applied for. It will save it. It'll save it for you in the section called saved letters.
Okay.
It'll save it for you, but I mean manage grants, manage letters. So it'll save whatever you have used, whatever, when you say write letter, write grant, it's going to save that for you. But what you need to do in order to track your grants, you want to create an Excel spreadsheet that has the deadline of that grant. Just so you can see everything in one place.
Okay, thank you.
All right. This is the quickest way to write grants. This is the quickest way to write grants. All right.
So with the grant suite, when we do the grants and they write the grant for us, we have to submit them on our own. It don't submit it for us.
That's correct. That's correct. It doesn't submit it for you. It writes it for you. So I feel like if we write the grant for you and the answers, then like submitting it should be pretty easy. Whether you decide to do it for yourself or you hire somebody, maybe you want to hire a virtual assistant that's going to sit there all day and just submit for you.
Okay.
So
it's best to probably submit it. I mean, download it, and that way when we can go to that site and just submit it. We just upload it from our computer versus trying to print it out and mail it or something like.
No, you wouldn't mail it. You download it and send it from your computer. All right. Let me have the next question.
Yes. Hey, Mr. Hacker. I purchased the software already, the new AI software. And I talked to Mark last week, and he told me that it was going to be launched this week. So you saying it's going to be launched Monday?
Yes. Matter of fact, I think we talked about you earlier this week because you've been checking back about the AI.
Yeah, I'm excited. I have clients that's waiting for me to get started.
Matter of fact, I'm glad that you said something, because some of your clients, you're going to be using this for your clients to actually start their nonprofits too, right?
Yes, sir.
I forgot to tell y'all, the software actually has the nonprofit application in it, and you can start nonprofits with it. So if all you wanted to do was help people get started, and the software already does that. That was part of the last upgrade. So if you want to, you can go ahead in there and do that now.
So it's available now?
Yes, right here.
Okay.
Boom, done. So all you would have to do, you go here and you create a file for each one of your clients, and then you click, download and send.
Okay. Are you gonna we have a copy of this video right here. Are you gonna send it to our email?
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much.
All right.
All right.
Yeah. All right. I'll take a few more questions. The software, like some people will use the software to write for their own companies. And so you're raising money for your company. Some people might use the software to do grant writing as a business. Some of you will just use it to set up nonprofits for people. But the software also has bylaws in it because every nonprofit needs bylaws. The software also has emails in it. You need to know how to email your funding sources and your city council. All of it's in there. And when you lock in with it, you get all the upgrades for free. You'll never have to pay anything again. But you know, there might be some people that don't want to lock in. They want to do payment plans. That's fine. You could just get started and you just cancel whenever you want to. So technically you could sign up, get the software and download all the grants. You can download all 4,000. It's not really going to change anything. I set it up because I'm trying to level the playing field for people that are interested in accessing free money that you don't have to give back. So if you and I never ever see each other, you can still get some stuff done. All right. Anybody have any other questions before I go? It's about that time right now.
This is a quick one. Do we have to have our non-for-profit bank account set up to apply for grants?
No, you do not. You should, but you don't have to. There are some grants that will mail you a check, but there are some grants that require you do electronic funds transfer, and they will only deposit it if the 501c3 name matches the check account name. So
Okay.
that's how they're going to disperse the money.
Thank you.
And if you have, like, people pay $1,500 to start nonprofits, but if you have the software, you can do it on your own and just pay the federal government $200 or $275, I think it is.
Yeah, I was just talking to someone today who had their lawyer set up their 501c3, and it's been a year. They're still waiting.
Oh, Lord, no. If you do it this way, using this software, you get approved in 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, I asked them if they wanted to, why didn't they just reapply? Because I don't know what's going on.
Let them hire you to do it.
Okay.
If you had time, and with the software, you can get it done in just a few minutes.
I should be
Thank you
consultant,
so
right?
much.
Hurry up, Brianna. We got to March.
Yeah. And,
No,
and for the people that get the lock-in, you get my
now.
whole, the people who get the lock-in, you get my whole training library. So you actually, of course, the software does the things for you, but if you wanted to really understand all the steps, that's in the nonprofit setup, and you can you'll have it, so you'll be able to go through it there. All right.
So what Mark put inside the chat is that's the discount for tonight before midnight?
Yes, that's
Okay.
the link for everything. All right.
And that's for before midnight tonight, because I'm on the West Coast, so I'm trying to get.
Yeah, it adjusts for the time zone.
Oh, okay, but I'm gonna make it on it right now after we get off air. I'm not missing it. I'm sorry. Thanks.
Yeah. All right.
Hey.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right. So
what's the price after midnight?
Say it again. The after party after midnight. Well, and we, of course, I can't leave it open for everybody, and we can't leave it open forever. So I think we only have about 5 of these open. So make sure if you want it, make sure you go ahead and grab it. If not, what I want you to do, at the very least, if you don't get the software, if you don't get the training, if you just don't want the library and don't want my software to do it for you, at least give yourself a shot and look up some of the grants using the information I gave you. Does that make sense? Is that fair enough? Like, has this helped somebody? Do you think that you could do a little bit more with grants than you could before now? Did you learn something?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely.
Right. Yeah.
Always.
Right. I'm on it right now.
Value. Thank you.
All righty. All right. Well, y'all have a good night. I will talk to y'all later, and we're gonna send all of your emails so that you can download the recording. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much.
Have a good night.
All right. Bye-bye.
Have a great weekend.
Good night. Free.